Before we begin, I'd like to introduce the members of the committee. We'll start off with my far left, your right. We have Representative Selena Babauta, Chair for JGO, Representative Christina Sablon, Chair for Health and Welfare, and joining me in the dais is the Vice Chair, Representative Karina Magofnia. I am Donald Mangonia, Chair for Ways and Means. And moving over to my immediate right is Representative Vicente Camacho, Chair for Federal and Foreign Affairs, Representative Danita Yanktamai, Chair for Commerce and Tourism and Cannabis, Representative Joel Camacho, the representative representing Precinct 4, and Representative Richard Lizama, Chair for PUTC. With that, and assisting the committee, we have our IT, Jonathan Diaz, our legal counsel, Joe Tyrone, fiscal analyst, Thomas Robago, Sergeant at Arms, Will Ogden. With that, members, can I get a motion for the adoption of today's agenda? All right, a motion was made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We now move on to the public comment portion of the agenda, and the podium is now open for any member of the public who wishes to make comments. We have none, and so with that, we now move on to the next item on the agenda. Again, good morning, members, and good morning to those in the audience. Today we will be going over the Saipan Mayor's office, followed by PSS this afternoon at 1 p.m. We will finish off our budget hearings tomorrow with DFEMS, and we'll allow our fiscal analysts and LA for the committee to begin preparations for the members to deliberate on the final allocations. As some of you may be aware, yesterday we had our budget hearing with Secretary of Finance, and according to the Secretary, the revised budget submission, it'll look like we will be seeing additional allocations to operational budget for all agencies. And so that's something that we look forward to come July 1st. Any major changes to any of the allocations to all agencies will be addressed. We will call in these agencies to further clarify how these allocations will greatly affect their operations. And I know, again, with with the Saipan Mayor's office and all other agencies that we've met with in the past, the only allocations that were given were for personnel, and that's to ensure that none of the personnel will be furloughed and to take everyone off austerity. And so that was the main focus in the initial submission of the budget, is to ensure that all personnel costs are covered, absent any operational budget. But again, July 1st, we will see those changes, and we'll act accordingly. And so just to give a brief summary of the mayor's request, the mayor's office has submitted a request of 4.2 million. Of that request, 1.9, a little shy of 2 million, was proposed for the Saipan Mayor's office, which leaves a shortfall of 2.2 million. And this seems like it would cover majority of its operational budget, with also 1.1 million shortfall in personnel. And so we would like to find out from the mayor's office how that will affect the operations as well. And so at this time, I would like to invite the mayor and any of his staff that will be presenting today to join us in the chamber. And at this time, I will hand the floor over to Mayor Apatang to introduce his team and to provide any remarks he may have.
Good morning, Chairman Manglona and honorable members of this committee. First of all, let me introduce my special assistant to my left, Henry Snyder, and my program coordinator, Luis Villagomez, here on my right this morning. And with me also is Mr. Jack Guerrero back in the back. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of this standing committee of Ways and Means. Thank you for having us here today to review our General Fund Fiscal Year 2023 appropriation budget that your committee has in front of you. A budget submitted by the executive branch and one that differs from our submission to the branch on February 24, 2022. To start off, we submitted a detailed budget to the executive branch office of management and budget on February 24, 2022. In our budget, we detail what we will need to continue performing and delivering public service to our residents that call Saipan home for our fiscal year budget total of 4.21997. Now compare our fiscal year 23 budget to the budget the executive branch gave you, and you will see that the executive branch reduced our budget significantly by $2,225,087. Not only is the reduction a drastic cut to the budget we will need to continue operating next fiscal year, the executive branch zeroed out our operation budget for next fiscal year. The FY23 budget the executive branch submitted to you in the amount of 1.994910 is only for our personnel. You make your honest assessment whether keeping this island you call home anywhere as safe and clean and beautiful as it is today, with a fiscal year 23 budget of 1.994910, that the executive branch has determined will be sufficient to do so. We will be kidding ourselves if we believe that notion. The executive branch said in its message about our fiscal year 2023 budget that our office should maximize the use of our American Rescue Plan Act money. What everyone needs to understand is that the use of ARPA, state and local fiscal recovery funds money, should benefit our island in the long term by spending it on improving our badly infrastructure and public facilities like road, social halls, sport facilities, public restrooms, and others. The committee, Mr. Chairman, and members has worked with us to make things better for our residents and visitors. We need to maximize our once-in-a-lifetime funding opportunity that the federal government has generously given us to fix and repair badly needed infrastructure repair and public facilities. We might have not another shot in the future of spending millions to make those improvements. When we build improvements that will last a long time and reap the benefits over those years, that is what we must term maximizing our limited resources. Thank you for giving us a chance to offer my opening statement. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor Apting. I would like to start off with, I guess, just understanding how, or for the current fiscal year, the under the Public Law 22-08, the mayor's office was allocated 100 FTEs, but it looks like 81 has been maintained. 81 is what you currently have, as well as what you propose next fiscal year. So the 19 FTEs, is that something that your office has decided not to pursue, or are those currently being filled? Can we just get the status on that that difference?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, we still want to continue to fill those positions. There are problems where we're trying to recruit mechanics and other equipment operators, but we just can't find uh, uh, people that are expert in operating those equipment, the heavy equipment. And we had a mechanic, but they had to resign. So those positions are vacant currently. But we do intend to fill those positions to the max.
Are there any currently being processed, and if so, how many positions are you
I think
planning
we
to
have
fill?
2 in the works right now, and then we have to reviewing some applications right now for uh, community workers positions.
So what will be the total that you'll have on board by the end of fiscal year
I
22?
think 89 now. Hmm? Right now, I think we have 89 total.
And then you're expecting two's being processed, so that'll be
2 on the way, we in
91 or
process. We have to go through the whole Long Johns.
yeah.
Governor have to review everything, so we're waiting on that. And then I'm looking on several applications that we're working on.
Okay. Thank you for that. One of the provisions for the Saipan mayor's office was to hire a vet. Has that been processed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is, we've been looking around for a vet, and a vet is a very costly salary. And when you guys gave us that opportunity with an FTE, it done, you guys did not give us funding for it. So we're still looking around who we can hire. As a matter of fact, we met with the Gaines vet that were here visiting us also. So we asked for their recommendation if they can look around for us so we can hire a vet here. We definitely need one here.
Thank you for clarifying. Just looking at some of your operational expenses, what's your current average fuel expenses currently?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Right now, with the gas price and all that, I think we're averaging about $16,000 to $20,000, a month.
A month.
Right? Yeah.
And then you're asking for 167 in repair and maintenance. Do you have machineries that are currently down, or is this in anticipation of any repairs that will be done?
Well, we asked for that amount because originally, the gas was still the same, lower level. It's not like $6 per gallon. So that's the reason why we asked that amount.
No, sorry. The 167,000 for repair and maintenance.
Yes.
Do you have?
We have a lot of equipment right now, so we'll still have more equipment coming in. Heavy equipment. So we're gonna need that amount, or maybe more, if possible, to maintain those equipment. We have to service the equipment every 3 months, make sure that they still run, and of course for fuel operations.
Thank you for that. Just one more clarifying question before I hand it over to the members. Your supplies and operations, historically, you were allocated in 2020 101,000, for 2021 at the 81,000, and then for next fiscal year you are proposing 226,000. So can you just provide to the committee what's the cause of this increase?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Everything is, all the prices here in the Commonwealth has gone up tremendously. Uh, we go to National Supply, Open Supply, Jotin Ace Hardware, and to get supplies and all that. Everything is the prices have gone up tremendously, and we need to really adjust our funding. So you know that's why we requested its amount, and it's inflation. It's going on. We need to prepare ourselves for the next fiscal year. So
But these would be just basic office operational supplies, or
these are basic operational supplies like for uh, toilet papers, paper towels, and all that, and then for parts also for our equipment, oil.
okay. And so the dog shelter, would that also, all these divisions are all
Everything
under
is in
one
there.
category? And sorry, last one, the for utilities, have you been taking that out of your operational budget, or are you billing the central government or finance?
I think
Is
we're
finance the
budgeted.
one paying for all utilities?
I think we're budgeted for utility, but we'll probably be asking for more because everything went up. Utility costs is went up 100%. I think.
Oh yeah. No, but
Uh,
the understanding was that the administration will take care of all executive branch utilities.
we cut our own, right?
Have they been paying for your utilities right now?
Hmm? Yeah. Well, and that we have a procedure that we request finance for payment, and they pay it CUC
So it comes out of Department of Finance and not
uh,
through your budget.
under a budget.
Under your budget?
Hmm.
Okay. If that's the case, I think you would need to meet with the Secretary of Finance, because that's the same situation we dealt with Tinian Mayor's office, that if you're using your operational budget, it should have been coming out of monies set aside by Department of Finance for all government utilities.
We're budgeted for.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're budgeted for utilities, but I think it's consolidated, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I see you're proposing also for utilities for next fiscal year, but that
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that will be taken care of by the administration.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that, Mayor Appetite. I now open the floor to the members. I recognize Rep. Selena Bavalta.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Mayor. Welcome, Special Assistant Hofschneider, and welcome to you, Project Coordinator. Couple of questions. How many vehicles are in your fleet, excluding heavy equipment?
Yeah, Congresswoman, I don't have the number of vehicles right now, but I can get the numbers and give you that listings.
Okay, how about heavy equipment? Does the mayor's office own heavy
We
equipment?
we own those equipment. We have graders, backhoes, and cloth trucks and dump truck, compactor.
Okay.
So we
Do you
have
know how many?
I don't have that
Approximate?
inventory with me, but
Okay.
I will provide you that listings.
Thank you. That would help.
Yeah.
Do you have to rent any heavy equipment? Well, apparently you do when one of your equipment breaks down. How often does that occur in the year?
Well, we've been during Typhoon U2. I have two backhoes that are damaged, badly damaged, and right now it's in the shop for almost a year, waiting for parts. We just ordered two backhoes out of
Oh,
ARPA funds,
okay.
so we're waiting for those to arrive. Yes, we've been renting a backhoe to service some of those families that needed. Those families that have passed somebody that passed away
Hmm.
that requires parking clearance and all that. So we have to rent a backhoe to help them do that.
Okay, do you know the balance of your ARPA funds that you got this fiscal year?
We have 3 million. 3 million. About 3 million.
And how many employees did you hire out of your ARPA funds that you got?
Let me see. I hired 39. Huh? 46 employees on the ARPA. 49. 49 personnel.
49. Okay. Okay, I noticed in the budget submission submitted by the governor, your rental from FY 2020 was 106,000, and then it increased in FY 2021. And I was concerned that the rent increased, given that we were under a pandemic. So I was wondering if, with all the financial aid that was made available by the United States Congress to businesses, did your office attempt to negotiate a lower rate, um, given that there were federal financial aid for businesses, and your rent increased, in fact, by I think 10, 11,000.
Mhm.
So 1,000, approximately 1,000 per month. I'm just wondering if there was any attempt by your office to negotiate a lower rate, given that we were in a pandemic, everybody was shut down.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Whenever we go out and ask for equipment rental, we're always trying to negotiate as much as possible to see if we can get a lower rate. But some of these businesses, they try to take advantage of the price because of the situation that's going on, especially pandemic and all that. But we try to save as much as we can.
Okay.
Uh, that's why we're going out to buy our own equipment to make sure that we prevent additional costs on rental for heavy equipment.
Okay, and how much total ARPA funds did you receive in FY 2022, current fiscal year?
6 million. 6.7 million.
6.7.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rep. Babata. I recognize the Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair, and welcome, Mr. Mayor and your team. Has the administration, finance, or OMB have been in contact with your office to possibly discuss any changes in funding allocation that may be given to you when the revised budget submission is given to us in July?
No, they have not.
Okay.
Not even say hello.
Okay, well, we are hoping that when the revised submission budget is submitted, that there will be additional funding for your operations.
Yes, Congressman, thank you. I was hoping that you'll call me and we can sit down again and go over our budget. So, but they never did.
Okay. Okay, well,
So we just have
there's
to.
still time, so maybe they are in the process of getting to you before July 1st. Okay. And secondly, looking at your proposed budget that you had submitted to the governor's office, uh, so your number of FTEs didn't change from 81, right? It was 81 in this fiscal year, and you are keeping the 81 positions. I do see an increase in salaries and wages of approximately $1.1 million. In fiscal year 2022, your budget was at 1,539,548, and in 2023 you are requesting for 2,705,000. So could you just help us understand the significant increase in salaries and wages with the number of FTEs remaining the same?
Thank you. The salary increases we gave our employees were necessary. Uh, the purpose of the American Rescue Plan Act funds was to assist governments, local government like the municipality of Saipan, trying and live through the hardships during the pandemic. And as everyone here knows, prices went up, hours work hours were cut. A lot of families were lost bread earners. Even our office, we had to terminate employees, and then I forgot how many months later we hired those employees back. And it was very fortunate that the American Rescue Plan came in and provided us an extra help to assist families. The mayor decided to increase salaries of employees across the board, and then um, with you know recognizing the rising prices and fuel and everything else, the mayor added more salary increases. So that increased our base salaries based on our fiscal year budget back in 2020, 2021, and the current fiscal year. So, yeah, we did incur additional expenses in salary increases.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Uh,
That's all I have
Let me
for now.
just add on to that, Congresswoman. You know, we were not expecting to receive ARPA funds anyway at that time. So when we had the benefit of getting the ARPA, I've decided to increase the salary of my staff all across, except me. But they deserve it. They've been working hard for this community since day one. You know, so I had to rehire some of those people that we terminated because of funding. So once we receive the notice that we have ARPA funding, then we start rehiring them back. Uh, they're still on board. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I yield.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I recognize Rep. Camacho.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And good morning, Mayor, Mr. Schneider, and Ms. Gomez. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, your office. You guys have been extremely helpful throughout to the community throughout the last year. We've seen it firsthand, the work that you do, the assistance you give to our offices to repair roads, and other such requests. One question that I have is, I've noticed that the office has expanded their scope of work to cover the cleaning of the road shoulders on the main thoroughfares. Um, I want to ask, how much of an impact do you guys incur in your financials as a result of doing that monthly?
Thank you, Congressman, for that question. You know, it's we don't have that many people in operation, so we're trying to work our schedule around. You know, trying to prioritize our daily activities. We work on villages and all that, and then after that, we have to move to Middle Road. That's our East Drive also, helping out the public works because at the time they don't have that many people. So the secretary asked me if we can help, and we did. I think now that they have so many numbers of people from, I don't know where they're getting hired from, but you know, I called him up. I said, I think you should take this project back so I can concentrate on our other agendas. You know, we've been out helping everybody that calls our office. We're helping the gym. We're helping set up. We're helping the schools. We're helping the racing activities on the north. You know, so whoever needs help, if we're available, we will help. The concentration actually is in the community, in the villages especially. Just Campman alone, if we go to Campman, it takes us 1 week to get out of there. It's so big. We try to manage and move along the other villages. So today we are in the south, Cobra. I think we just finished an OPEC yesterday. And some other areas in the central.
Maybe may I refer this question over to our fiscal analyst. I have the analysis for the mayor's office. and it states that fiscal year 2022 ARPA, the mayor was given 1.3 million for personnel and 13,000 for operations. Is that correct?
2.8 million and 213.
Well, that's a combination of their fiscal year budget and ARPA. But ARPA alone, it states it's showing 1.3 million, and then operations is 13,000.
Correct. 1.3 and 13.
Okay, so I just overheard earlier, Mr. Mayor, that you stated that you guys have a balance of 3 million ARPA. I'm just wondering, TG, why is it not showing? Why is it not reflecting that number?
They probably, so we would also don't get those figures. It may have been a rollover from 21.
I see. Okay, so some of the funds have already been expended through fiscal year 2021.
Mr. Schneider, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The number you asked the analyst to look at, 1.3, that was allocated to the mayor's office by the governor's office using ARPA funds to pay for personnel in FY 2021. And our understanding back then when we were allocated the funds was whatever we didn't use or expend in 2021 would be rolled over to the next fiscal year, this fiscal year. We didn't expend the entire that 1.2 was divided into two. Half of it, 50%, was allocated in fiscal year 2021. We didn't spend around 200,000 of that money. So OMB rolled over that remaining amount of 200,000 to the current fiscal year. So instead of using that 200,000, Mayor reprogrammed some of that 200,000 to all others. As you know, he incurred a lot of expenses in 2020, 2021, and current fiscal year. The question whether the additional work that the mayor took on, like road maintenance along the main thoroughfares, the mayor had his employees out there 6 days a week. Can you imagine, covering the entire island 6 days a week? And the employees were stretched thin. They worked 6 days, had 1 day off, and on holidays, they came out and were clearing the main roads. So that's where that money is coming from. The remaining 3 million, that's the remainder from the $6.7 million that the U.S. Treasury allocated to the mayor's office as part of it's in ARPA funds, right?
I think it's separate from the provisions of government. So
Right.
this would be
Yeah, it's
just
a-
directly to the mayor's office,
I see.
like with Rhoda and Tinian.
Right.
Okay, so the number that's reflected here is, I see.
And I think that's where we were able to hire some more people back.
My apologies, sir. My other question would be, the current operations that you guys undertake right now. Is it something that's sustainable for the near future? Can you carry on those services? Because I believe that a lot of the community members, just in my from my precinct alone, actually they really they like to see that, that you guys are really consistent with that work, and it's really refreshing to see our precinct that clean. I'm just wondering if that's something that can be sustained moving forward.
Well, Congressman, whoever comes in on the next as the next mayor, he's gonna be ready. He's gonna have all the equipment that he can have. He's gonna be ready to move on to continue cleaning this island and providing service. So we're not gonna use all this money. We have to think of what's coming up on the next mayor, and that's my commitment.
Well, thank you for that, Mayor. For doing your due diligence for the next the next mayor to come, the next mayor to be. Um, Once again, thank you and your team for all the wonderful work that you do and for being responsive to a lot of our requests. You've been tremendous in the effort, especially when a request is made from my office directly. You guys are pretty responsive, and we thank you for that. And I like what the chairman said. I look forward to July 1st for the what you call a supplemental budget, and I guess we'll see if we need to call the mayor back in. Oh, thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Rep Camacho. Any other member? I recognize Rep Bazama.
Thank you, Chairman, and welcome the Mayor of Saipan, Honorable Mayor David Apatang, and your staff, Mr. Ab Snyder, your budget analyst there next to you. As a representative of the Techman Precinct 5, myself and Representative Staffler wanted to thank you for coming over and maintain our village to the high standard of cleanliness and environmental free. Um, there's no other place on the island that has more grassy area and more unpaved road of any village. Catman is the one. We still have a lot of work to do. And so for that, with all the work that you've been doing for us as we collaborate together, I want to say again, thank you. But I have a couple of questions. The highway that you guys been doing, that main road, um, I seen, I've seen DPW doing it, and sometimes I've seen most of you. A lot of times I've seen the municipality has been doing it. Who's responsible? Who has that responsible for the who's responsible for that roads in that matter? Actually,
Well, thank you, Congressman, for that question. Actually, it's been a, I don't know if it's misconception or whatever, but you said since the highway is federal highway, I think Public Works is taking over that responsibility. But as the mayor of Saipan, I think Saipan is my responsibility. So regardless of where, federal highway or not, I'm still responsible for this island. So if I see that it needs to be clean, needs to be done, then we'll do it. We're not going to wait for everybody to come
Just
in and
do
do it. That's what you call initiative,
yes, sir.
right? So even now, I have people going around, sometimes 2 trailers going around the island picking up trash because it really hurts my eye to see trash along the road. I don't see why people continue to throw trash out. And we have a lot of visitors coming in, and we need to keep our island clean. So we have a lot of good comments from visitors coming in that the island is very clean. They really enjoy staying here.
Yes.
So that's why we do what we do. And as long as I'm the mayor here, we will continue to do that.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that you said that, and people will understand because there was been a lot of question. But I do appreciate for doing because it's what you call just do it, right? And when you see something that is not safe, clean it, right? Anyway, we go on for the next question. You have 81 personnel. Are these personnel under civil service or just contract?
No, we don't have anybody, Congressman, in civil service. Everybody's in contract.
So the 49 ARPA, they're also for special project and temporary, correct?
49 person under ARPA, getting paid under ARPA.
Okay. And so
Yes,
when that
the others
runs out,
are, I think there's 29 personnel under 1061. That's our local funds.
okay.
So that's what we have.
I appreciate for all the equipment that you have, Mayor, and also I just want to ask, are these operators are certified trained? I've certified trained, have to go to a lot of hours of training, classroom training, safety training, and be able to identify if that equipment is ready for down or ready for service. Are these operators in that category?
Yes, Congressman, thank you. We make sure that our operators are trained. There was an incident way back where somebody was not trained, and the, somebody got sued, and we don't want that to happen. We always have liability. So whenever we go out there, we make sure that the operator is trained, certified to operate the equipment that they're using out there in the field.
That's clarified here. Thank you very much. I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Zama. I recognize Rep. Sablon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Hofschneider, Ms. Villa-Gomez. Welcome. I had several questions. Mayor, I recognize your planning for the fiscal year and that there will be a new mayor, for most of the budget that you're preparing for, but I did want to ask you, what do you believe should be the priorities with the funding that's being proposed for fiscal year 2023 for the mayor's office?
Well, thank you, Congresswoman, for that question. Our priorities, again, is for the community, as always. Hopefully, fiscal year 23 is right around the corner, and a new mayor will be coming in after January. So I'm sure that he will have a different priority.
Mhm.
But what I make sure is that the new mayor will have enough funding to operate, to make sure that he take care of the equipment. He got enough fuel to operate. That's why we're bringing some additional equipment, trying to use our APA funds to make sure that he's got enough equipment to service the island.
Mhm.
That's our priority. We
Okay.
would like to continue doing our public service on the island.
Yeah, and I think we all recognize how much the mayor's office does, and you have a number of really critical programs that I think we'd like to see continue in the next fiscal year. But on the subject of equipment, so you received both SNILD and general fund appropriations. And I first wanted to ask, have you received the SNILD funds that were appropriated for the mayor's office in this fiscal year?
Yes, we've used some of the fundings that were appropriate to us.
Okay. And you were able to use that for your equipment, some of your equipment needs?
Yes, for operations.
For operations, okay. And then what about your equipment needs for the upcoming fiscal year that would be funded by the general fund? Could you talk about those?
That's why we're asking additional funding here for operation to make sure that we maintain those equipments. The incoming mayor will
Mhm.
have enough funding to maintain the equipment. Every equipment needs a quarterly service, at least change
Right.
oil and all that, make sure things are done right. They're still operating. And for fuel,
Mhm.
but the equipment that we're purchasing, actually, we're getting it out of ARPA.
Okay, so you're not proposing new equipment out of the general fund. It's just,
No.
I'm glad you're planning for maintenance. I think that's been lacking in a number of our departments with equipment inventories, and so that's good to hear. I wanted to ask you next about the the animal shelter, the dog control program. So I know you mentioned we did grant you an FTE for a government vet, but no funding went along with that. And do you have an estimate of how much funding would be needed for that FTE to recruit somebody qualified for that position?
I think we've researched on that, but to hire a vet here to get here and to live here is about 140,000 per annum.
So that's everything, salary, benefits, that's the
I
total?
believe so.
Okay, and have you advertised the position, or is it the lack of funding that has prevented that?
Well, we don't want to advertise because we don't have the funding
Right.
to hire anybody yet.
But do
But
you have
once we
somebody?
get the funding,
Sorry.
we will advertise. Like I said, we asked the vet that came here to help us out from Gaines
Mhm.
to see if we can research other vets that are interested to move here.
Okay.
So
So there is nobody even on a contractual basis right now with your office for the animal program?
We don't have, actually, we're not looking into that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to, well, we have to look for funding for that.
Right.
We're just working with Dr. De La Cruz, but he's got his own issues also, medicines and all that. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was curious about Dr. De La Cruz.
Yeah.
So he's with DLNR. Is that his contract? Not with the mayor's office at all.
no.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you. And then my next question was about the junk vehicle removal and disposal program. That is one of my favorite programs that you run. And what is the status of that, and what are your funding needs specifically for junk vehicles?
Well, actually, Congressman, that comes out of the operation.
Okay.
We do that every day, except Saturday and Sundays, removing junk cars and all that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of junk cars still in the community. I don't know why people are keeping those cars for decoration, but whenever we get into the village, we always ask them, "You want us to move your junk car?"
Mm-hmm.
We want to keep the village clean. We have a cloth truck. I have one more coming in, to hook up those cars and take them over to the disposal site. So
Mm-hmm.
we're still working on those.
Okay, but just taking into account the governor's proposal of nothing for operations, what are the operational needs specifically for the junk vehicle program?
Well, that's once we get the funding and all that, for our operation, we use the gas and all that. Gas is very expensive, so
Mm-hmm. Okay, but you don't have like an estimated, like a figure just for the junk car program.
no, I don't have that right now.
Okay. Thank you. And then maybe I think that might be helpful for the committee if since we're going to be doing a lot of balancing for operations funding for across all of the government, just to have an idea of what what are the most critical programs for the mayor's office and the operational needs for that, because like it's really hard to tell if we just have a lump sum, um, and if we have to make decisions about how much funding to give for everybody else too. So I just wanted to make that request, Mayor. And then my two last questions. If you could give us updates on the village sanitation inspection program. I remember there was an announcement of this partnership that your office was having with other agencies. I think BEH was one of them, maybe BCQ as well. What did that program ever get off the ground? And then an update as well on your street naming and renumbering and village boundary program.
Well, that program died.
Oh no. Okay. And that was
Yeah, because of
why?
COVID.
Oh, okay.
But we
Yeah.
are still working with. Hopefully, we can get sanitation out to work with us and all that. And
Yeah.
zoning,
Yeah.
zoning is important to help us remove those junk cars along the communities.
Hmm.
And if they go around and start tagging those vehicles, then we have 72 hours to give them a chance to either remove them themselves or we'll come and pick them up.
Hmm.
And then public health needs to go out, sanitation especially, to go out and inspect the villages. I don't know if they have enough FTEs to do that, vehicles to go around with,
Yeah.
but we definitely need that help in the community.
Yeah, and it would be nice to revisit that, I think, because I do remember the announcement before COVID, and then
Yeah.
and now that we're kind of coming out of COVID and moving to normal operations again, yeah, it would be really great to see that
Yes.
revived. And then for the street naming, the renumbering, and the village boundaries, I know this has been an ongoing project. I know that we have funded it, but do you anticipate that this project can be completed in 2023? What is our timeline?
Thank you, Congresswoman. We're almost done.
Yay!
Yeah, we're on the
That's
north,
great.
working our way back
Yeah.
down to Central Garapan.
Mhm.
The only issues that we've been encountering is that some of the streets have no names. So we're trying to get with the families that live within that street to see if they can come up with, names that we can put up so we can number their houses. That's one of the problems. And other.
Well, I remember that there was also discussion of some of the conflicts about where the village boundaries were. So has that already been
Well,
resolved by now?
There was a public hearing the other day, and the congressman
Mhm.
was there, and some of the members. We're still working on that,
Okay.
and hopefully the members will support that. It's not a controversial issue. It's we just want to make sure that we know where the boundaries of the villages are.
Mhm.
It's not going to take your precinct away from you, or
Yeah.
we just want to clarify and map the precinct. Right now, there is no map as to which village is the boundaries of each village. So we want to make sure that we do that.
Yeah. And are you working with the census folks as well from Commerce?
We were working with the census.
Okay. So the maps will be
Yeah, and that's
aligned.
very important for
Okay.
us to finish.
Yeah.
And hopefully that bill can come out of the committee. And as a matter of fact, I'm planning to have a session this afternoon with the media to explain that bill,
Mhm.
so we can get support.
Okay. And so just on that note then, is that part of your budget proposal for the general fund, or will you be seeking SNOW funding for that?
I think it's both.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Thank you. And yeah, let's just use this opportunity now to share with the public that there is a press conference, right? I know that was one of the concerns brought up in the public hearing earlier this week, is the lack of information being disseminated, but we do try to reach out through all means, media and the paper, as well as our YouTube and Facebook feed that's going on right now. Uh, for the first round, any other members? I recognize Rep. Yanktamai.
Okay, yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mayor's staff and Mayor. Um, I just want to, what do you call, add also for the budget, for the Mayor's budget, to also include an account for base course materials. Because, yes, because our offices have been bombarded by constituents who need that for the road, and the mayor's office don't have the base course, so we have to call up and ask them so your equipments can go and fix the road. And yes, that is also needed. Thank you. And yes, thank you um, for coming over there at the public hearing. It was not well attended, but very informational, educational, and I hope people heard it on FB or on the social media. And yes, I appreciate your um, uh, planning to come up with what is that, press conference today. Thank you. All right. That's all.
Thank you, Congresswoman, for that. That's where the money, comes from operation. We use that money to pay for best scores for secondary roads and all that. So sometimes we're out of money. So that's why we go around and ask for the congressman for help, to provide best scores for the precinct. But hopefully, with some funding that we have in ARPA, we're looking at some of the secondary roads that we can use that money to pave. And we've been working with TSD to help fund some of the projects road projects that they're planning on paving. So it's very costly for us. Base course is not cheap. Some villages require 20 loads, 50 loads, and we do that all the time for especially multi or. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Yanktamai. I recognize Rep. Vicente Camacho.
Thank you, Chair. Mayor, welcome. I just want to say thank you for all the great job you've been doing, you and your crew, the entire mayor's crew. Thank you very much for those. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Rep. Camacho. And then we'll close out with Rep. Lizama.
Just want to, because since you're having the press conference this afternoon, I hope that that will be, you guys will include the next public hearing, as the people will know. And I think the next one will be here in the chamber. That will be when? Will be in 20. So you announce that, please, on the press conference, so people can be, so we can have more people. And again, Mr. Mayor, thank you for all the work you did. I know it's going to be a very challengeable mission for the next mayor that will take your place. And I know that the most important is your manpower and the operation equipment. Those are the two things that you have to maintain in order for you to do the job. So with the next two backhoe that you said was coming, that will give you 4. And so, do you have any stock of parts on standby? As you know, what are the wear and tear kind of parts? Do you have that in your shop?
Usually I go through an Napa or
Okay, so they are the parts are on island.
some of the vehicles, equipment that we have actually are in Korea, so you can order some parts and then come overnight.
Okay, but you mentioned that there were equipment it's been 1 year down, or two other.
Those are the backhoes that were damaged in YouTube.
Okay, so they were not parts damaged or
Some parts.
or some parts. Okay, thank you for the information.
Thank you, Rep. Joel.
Thank you. Just last question, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mayor, I overheard that your office may be paving Industrial Drive. Is that true?
We met with Anthony Camacho, the TSD director, a couple of months ago, and we offered help, financial help. We were willing to put in $300,000. DPW has $700,000 for that project. And they were waiting on CPA, the Commonwealth Ports Authority, to put in their share. At that time, I think Anthony said CPA was looking at putting in $400,000 for the paving of Industrial Drive and the crossroads that connect to that road.
Okay.
And then our last meeting about a month ago, Anthony said CPA has agreed. They're just working on a written agreement. DPW has the money. They might not need our money, but I've asked Anthony, I said, let's put in sidewalks, because when cruise ships come in, tourists walk that road to get from the seaport to Garapan and everywhere else in Saipan. So that project is coming. I think the contract formation is developing or ongoing, and we should see a contract and a contractor and people there to break ground soon, hopefully soon. So it's in the works.
That's very good news. And
we asked them to pay for around the reserve center all the way down to the seaport. The entrance to the base, all the way down. So just finish it once and for all. So they'll be doing that.
So you did mention that you guys are also going to be collaboratively, you guys are going to be paving the lateral roads as well.
We'll be working with TSD, Mr. Camacho. Also, we're offering our help to fix that road in between JJ Sablan. That's always, there's a lake there all year round. So we're working with him, see if we can fund that and get that thing fixed once and for all. So, and then some other roads in the villages. So,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, final question, Rep. Babalta.
Sorry, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for mentioning the JG Lake, JG Sablon Lake in Garapan. But I also have a concern of the, and it may not fall into your jurisdiction because it's right along the main road in Tanapak, entering what did you see, Bloss? What's his name? Basilio. Basilio's road going in. That is a long-standing problem, and I'm not sure that it falls in your jurisdiction. It may be Public Works because it's along the federal highway. But I was hoping that, and I was planning to meet with Public Works as well, because even during dry season, apparently there's either a pipe leak there, because if you pass by now, there's water settlement there, and it's there year round. It's similar to the Nansong Pitu issue that was already fixed, yes. So it's the exact same situation. I believe so. Because even during the driest seasons, there's still water settlement there. So would that fall in your jurisdiction? Thank you. And I will also call Public Works for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Ben.
Thank you. Since we're on the topic of roads, I just wanted to ask, what do you know about the Earhart Drive up in Wallarai? Do you have any updates on that, or is that your jurisdiction?
Thank you, Congressman. I know that road very well. Uh, we repair that road every month. I thought there was a plan already that we're gonna try to fix that road with temporary, like the one in Tapocho. You know,
I remembered I've had an assessment done on that through DPW, and I think I gave it to the mayor's office just for their information. But I think they're planning on helping us out.
how much is
I think the assessment was for 298,000.
I think the problem also there is some private property that we need to clear. So hopefully Public Works can look into that.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Rep. Ben. At this time, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Hofschneider, Mayor Apatang, Ms. Villagomez, and Mr. Guerrero for coming in today and answering questions that the members had. Again, as we've stated, we are expecting a revised budget submission July 1st. And so if some of the needs are not met in that revised budget, please also feel free to reach out to the committee to see if there's anything else that you would like to for the committee to deliberate on and to consider in granting this request. And while we do recognize how much work has yet to be done, after October 1st, you would only have about 3.5 months. But as you've mentioned, you are thinking forward in how then the next mayor will continue maybe some of the programs, or at least have the necessary equipments and tools to operate as well as provide these services to the community. And so at this time, I'd like to again thank you for coming in. And if there's any closing remarks that you'd like to give, Mr. Mayor, this would be your opportunity.
Thank you, Chairman Manglone, and thank you, members, for having us this morning. Hopefully, you can review our budget submission and consider our requests for the next fiscal year, and also consider the next mayor coming in. I want to make sure that he's got enough funding available for his operation and his people to continue to operate for our people here on the island of Saipan. And also want to invite you, we have July 4th coming up. So I'm asking you to, precinct, if you can, come up with a float. It would be nice to have a float from every precinct for July 4th. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to your team. At this time,
Okay.
before we dismiss,
yes,
further,
sorry. What is the theme for this Liberation Day upcoming? Okay.
This year's Liberation Day theme is honoring our legacy as we ride the waves of change. Yes.
And
you.
we're coming out with this year's celebration logo this Friday. It's really nice.
Okay.
So if you want to come up with a float, we have the application available online. Go to the mayor's website or right. And if you were coming out with a marching parade or unit or something like that, it's there too. Okay. Hmm. And our concession opening will be on June 30 that evening. We'll have 5 days of food concession operation, and ceremony will be on June 30 opening. So we'll be sending you guys a letter if you come and attend, please. Thank you very
All right.
much.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Yes.
And the Liberation Day Committee invites any one of you, if you want to come and sing, bring your ukulele or your guitar, your drums. We'll put you on the set and on the stage, and you can perform. Get known better.
Oh, sorry. Um, I received an invitation, and I'm sure everyone else did, to join the mayor on the grandstand. And I would like to ask if there'll be a what do you call that, designated parking, so we don't walk from Joten all the way.
We will have a golf cart to bring you over. But if you want to participate on the parade also, you're more than welcome to do so. Just let us know so we can arrange that. You can go down the road,
Oh,
wave, but no political activities.
okay, thank you. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Again, thank you. And at this time, we will now excuse the Saipan Mayor's office and take recess till 1 p.m.